Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome to the Project X channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this video, you may be a FZ6 Fazer fan, because right here we've got a 2006 Yamaha FZ6 with only 13,000 miles on the clock. It's a little bit rough around the edges. We're going to do a hell of a lot to it, restore this bike, but transform it into something else. Like everything that leaves this garage, it has to be special. And not that these bikes aren't special anyway, it's something that you can just jump on and take it anywhere and be ultimately reliable on all weathers. But we're going to change it into some groovy looking cafe racer. So before we proceed with the transformation of the bike, I'm going to show you around it and point out some of these little scabby nasty areas that we're going to be touching up. Let's take a look. So it looks like at some point in its life it's had a little bit of a spill because this crash bung has had a bit of hammer, hasn't it? The clutch casing cover here has got some bubbling starters, so it looks like this bike's been kept outside. The oil pump cover, that too has got some flaking on there. It doesn't look like there appears to be any primer underneath this paint, it's just paint straight on the casing. The water pump cover's got a little bit of flaking down here. We'll get all these removed and painted up. It's got I've not seen one of these for a long time. Good old centre stand, very good. We're going to be taking these pegs off and replacing with some racy looking pegs. I may not remove the rear footrest. I could cut this and grind those weld flat, but we might just leave that there just in case anyone wants passengers. We're not going to go too in depth with the transformation. Now, there is a little bit of rust on here, which that'll be addressed also. Is that plastic? We could probably paint that, I don't know. I'm thinking of doing the wheels in a gold, maybe it's a gold with some satin clear. The forks don't appear to be too bad. We'll get that paint repaired on those. There's some pitting up here on the chrome, so we may even, I think what we're going to do is change these fork stanchions, get some new ones in there. The mudguard, I don't particularly like the shape of it to say if it's going to be like a cafe racer style bike. This is going. This is going, the headlight surround, all that is going. We're going to put a single headlight on it. I was thinking of putting some clip-on bars so I can bring it down here. We don't know yet. We're just going to take things apart, try and fit some of these modifications and see what it feels. The top box definitely has to go, I'm afraid. I know they come in handy to some people, but it would ruin the look of this bike. The exhaust are pretty cool. It has actually got a good sound to this bike. I've rode it home and it does sound pretty good. There's no logo on these exhausts. Let's take a look so we can find one. Nothing there. I'm not an FZ6 guru, so maybe if someone's watching they can tell me what they are. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think they've got this baffle here. I think it's a removable baffle, so we'll get that out and see what it sounds like. So there you have it. Doesn't it sound cool? It actually excites me, the sound of this little revvy engine. It just goes to show that you don't need 1,000 cc's to create some excitement inside you. So these are the baffles I've just taken out of it. They're actually straight through. I expect them to have like a dome over the head and some perforations in here, but they actually don't trap too much of a sound, but they do make a difference. But overall, I'm pretty much impressed with the bike. It's not in a terrible condition, so it's not going to be a lot of hard work. Let's get to it. Okay, so the question is, where do I actually start with this bike? I think the first thing I'm going to be doing is removing this top box. Here we go. Anybody want to buy a top box? Well, I must admit, it looked far better with that actually gone. It has totally transformed the bike. Bloody hell, more screws. Oh, doesn't that just look absolutely loads better? It looks better already, doesn't it? Sounds like a real motorbike again.
Dancing in the corner of your mind. I know you are lost inside a labyrinth. There can be many of your kind. Somehow you got stuck in all this mess you're in. And when you want something bad, heaven's on fire, love's in the air. I need your answer, you're running the fire. Never be the reason you lose your desire. I'm no train, we cannot get higher than this.
Right, there we have it. It's starting to look more like a Streetfighter bike already, isn't it? I can definitely see the appeal now. What I want to do is get a light for the front. I may end up chopping this up and re-welding it, fabricating it to fit some other sort of light. Unless I can buy something right now to fit on it. Right. So I'm going to do some eBay digging and some Googling to see what fits the bike. So I've just ordered 350 quid worth of stuff off eBay. There's a lot of things on the way. I've ordered a single seat cowl for the rear, indicators, LED, number plate holders, LED lamp, headlamp, and windshields, stuff like that. New grips and levers, you name it, all sorts to go on that bike. It's mostly, or in fact it's all things that you can actually bolt onto the bike itself. I'm going to give it a wash, get it back in here and start stripping more things from it. I'm going to modify the headlight bracket. I'm going to have to do that because I want the speedometer to be sat back, but I will wait until I get the headlight, the LED headlight first. That way I know how I'm going to fit it, and I want to really prevent any cutting and welding whatsoever. I want this bike to be a strict bolt-on, so you can do these parts yourself. When the parts arrive, if you like the bike, I will put links in the description of the video so that you can order these parts yourself if you want to customise your FZ6. Let's get it washed and continue. Okay, today is a good day because all our LED lights I have ordered have arrived on time. They have arrived in a one from different sellers, believe it or not. So first up, we've got this LED headlight, a 7-inch LED headlight. I will put a link in the description so you can purchase one of these yourselves. You may be familiar with it, you may not be, but this one I'm going to be fitting. We've also got this number plate hanger. I've got one of these for the GPZ. It's in grey on the GPZ, so I've got this one in black, so depends on the finish on the bike, I can use either one. But it's got an LED light under there for the number plate illumination. We'll get this wired up. And we've also got these indicators. Now these aren't LED, these have a bulb in them. I don't know which ones will look the best. It depends on which is brightest and which ones actually suit the look of the bike. So these ones are LED and these ones are bulbs. Only problem is with these little slimline ones, they can be, sometimes you can't see them or other road users can't see them, so you want to make sure that these are clearly visible when they're illuminated, because obviously if not, then that can cause you safety problems, can't it? It's all about being seen on a bike. Also, next up is this. Is this headlight bracket or headlight mount, whichever you want to call it. It's a 7-inch one also, so just pay attention when you're looking for these because there are different sizes. It will be very easy for you to snap up a headlight and snap up one of these mounting brackets and they'll be the wrong size. So there are no instructions for any of these products what I've purchased, so I'm going to trial. It's all about trial and error. I will mock fit everything and then I will show you how it all goes together, hopefully, fingers crossed. This headlight surround comes with brackets to mount it on your forks. I'm not going to be using these mounting brackets. I've heard a few bad things about them, but they look a little bit tacky, so I don't want to put those on. Plus I'm going to do a little bit of TIG welding and make my own bracket for the bike. Yep, so all these bits and pieces, I have no idea how they go together. but we will do. All right, so let's crack on and get this built, shall we? So what I'm going to do is remove these wires from these connectors and re-terminate them. This one here is the low beam, and this one here is the high beam light. So high beam, low beam. Let's take a note or pay attention to the colours. You can't go wrong anyway. Both plug like that on the original. Right, let's get these off. Right, I could just snip these wires because I don't really need these connectors, but I like to tread carefully and save things. You can get tools, I've got them somewhere but I misplaced them. You can get tools that simply push into these connectors and they will pop straight out for all connectors, but I've got them, I don't know where they are. What I'm going to do is get this flat screwdriver, dig it into the end there, pop it, and that should come out. There's a little tab in there. Get these out. There. Alright, you can keep these, you see. I like to just keep little things, comes in handy. Now, so what I'm going to need to do is figure out how I'm going to wire this thing up. That is tight. Let's figure out how I'm going to wire this up entirely. There are no instructions for this light whatsoever, so I'm going to test which ones of these actually work. Let's have a look. Okay, we've got our headlight here and we've got our test battery. You can use the battery on your motorbike if you wish, but I have one spare lying around just to test things on the bench. Right, so first thing is I've got this fly lead or a little test wire here. If you notice, I have cut one of them shorter than the other, and the reason for that is a safety thing. Okay, it won't shock you or anything like that. You can touch them, they're quite safe. It's DC current, but the thing is, if these two touch together at all, this will just melt and set on fire. You do not want positive and negative touching anywhere on your electrical circuit. That's how things melt and set on fire. Alright, so with the short one here, the blue one, that goes to the earth. Well, that goes to the negative side. So we're going to need a ground wire on this connector. There's 3 pins. So this one here on the right is our ground connector. So that is going to go hook round there, if I can get him in, to our negative side. Now I'm going to just bend these tabs out a little bit, not to stress them. It's just simply a little bit of a bend on them so they don't touch together. Should really get them taped up. Right. With our negative side connected, now I can go around and test which one of these connectors does what. So that looks like the high beam. I'm just looking into this one here, sorry for flashing you. Right, the high beam, watch your eyes, but no, that's a low beam. Okay, that's a low beam. Ah, there we are. That's the high beam. All those illuminated now. The halo lights aren't illuminated because we've not connected those up yet. All these lights share one earth connection, so yellow halo lights, and we've also got our bright snow white halo lights. I like them both. What I'm going to do on this bike, if I had a 3-way switch, I could probably have a switch where I can go from one to the other, but I don't. So only way I can get this yellow switch between the two is to connect one or the other. I will connect the white ones for this instance. So we've identified what goes where. Okay. Right. What I need to do now is wire this through the harness the same way, so I know which wires are what. Okay. I hope this does not look too complicated for you. All we need to worry about is the, well, not worry, all we need to know is where these go. So I've tied a knot into the longest earth wire because we're going to be discarding this one. We don't need that, it doesn't need to be here. All we have is 3 wires now. We have the shortest earth lead and we have our low beam and high beam. Remember the colours. So we're not going to bother. We're not going to worry about the length of them yet. I'm going to connect this to our light. Then we're going to wire this up, make sure it all works. So we shall connect the earth side first. It's quite safe. There is no. I've actually forgotten which was the earth side. Sure it was the right one, wasn't it? Yeah, right. Bear with me, people. Right. We are going to connect our earth wire, the black wire, to that right hand side there. And then we're going to connect our, it doesn't really matter which is a high or low beam at the moment, but we're going to put the, let's have a look which was a high or low beam. I'm not very, that's a high beam. I'm not going to doing a very good job at this already, am I? Right. High beam there. It doesn't matter if you get these wrong, it's just that the switch will be the wrong way around. And our low beam on the bottom. So they can't touch the moment, but I'm going to put some tape around them. Just so we stay safe. Don't want any fires, and we certainly don't want this harness to melt. What I'm going to do then is just cover that over just like that. And put the earth wire, because that goes to our negative. Stopping that, why is it not going in? Okay, so we now need our power from our battery to fuel this, don't we? So this end of the connectors, which goes to the wiring harness direct, the other side goes to the clocks or spinometers instrument cluster. Turn that around, and on the back here we have got our 3 wires: high beam, ground and low beam. There we go, our 3 wires. What we need to do then is get this ground wire down there. That is in there now. I'm going to get a test. Yep. That is a low beam. And that is a high beam. Excellent. Okay. Now we're going to test the halo lights. Or at least one of them. The wiring on these. How we're going to wire these up. I've decided how I'm going to wire these up. We want these to come on when the ignition's on. So I'm going to use the side lights. Obviously we have 2 side light connectors on this bike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of them. Let's say we're going to use the right hand one. The earth wire on the right hand one is the black with yellow dots on it. And that's the earth wire. And this is the positive. So we don't need to earth this now. The actual light unit, the halo lights share the earth from, or the negative side from this. So what we need to do is connect this in here. Let's have a look in the harness. That looks like the one. All in a line, look. So we've got our blue with purple stripe, which matches this one in that switch connector. Now then, if I put that in there, I now need another wire from there to here. Right, it doesn't matter either one. I'm going to put this wire onto. See if we can get that snugly in there. It's not tight, will do. Alright, so this should now get power from here. And it does. Bingo. If you go to bingo, you'll know what I mean by that. Right, okay, so the other one, so that's perfect. So we've tested this harness and it all seems to work. We're going to readjust these wires, put them in the right place, and then get it on the bike and give it a bash. I've already got the bike in bits. We'll hang this just up here. No. Ah. I'll get this on here. Hopefully you can see that. Yep. Now harness now. We'll connect the full thing up. Where's that one go? In there. That one in there. We'll connect the whole thing up and see if we blow any fuses. Right, okay, so the yellow light should come on now. We've got this wired into the harness as it should be. We've got this spare side light one there, which we're just going to take that up into the harness there. So the key on, boom, the yellow light's working. High beam flash. We'll just fire it up, see if this comes on. Where's that? High beam. There we go. Excellent. So that works. Right, before we go any further, I'm going to go and cut off, if I can find the end of this tape. I'm going to lose the additional side light wiring, because we don't need it. So, the side light wiring, which was these purple ones here, and it's this connector. This is obviously the left hand side, or I'll call it the passenger side of the bike. That's a side light wiring. We don't need it, it's redundant, so I'm going to get rid of it. Get rid of it, there's no need to have it. So the earth, I should have removed it before when we were tidying up the earth cables, but I'm going to snip that off there. Snip that there. And that's that gone. I don't need those. Then we shall wrap this back together. Good. So remember the blue with pink stripe, I think it is, pink stripe. That is the side light or parking light wiring. And that's that. Okay. Now the indicators that I have chosen just have these bullet connectors on. And so do the other ones. These are the bullet connectors. So we're going to put female bullet connectors on our harness. What we shall do, I'm going to cut this close to there. We don't need it. I'm trying to get as much of that wiring back out as possible. There's enough here to navigate round and take our wire stripper. I'm just going to bend this back itself. So I didn't realise that you can actually get these converter wire things off eBay. I will put a link in the description so you can get them, or you could just search for them yourself and buy them should you want to upgrade your wiring. But it would make things a lot easier. You don't have to do what I've done. But the thing is, I didn't have them to hand at the moment, so I've just gone ahead and re-terminated the wiring myself. But yeah, I know now you can buy these, but I didn't know at the time. But there you go. My sheath over. Just going to seat that in there. It's got that. I always put it in the next one just to compress it tight. Just gives it a better finish, better connection. Beautiful. That's not all good. Same with the other side. Done. You've got a black wire with a white or a grey line. That's, you might not be able to see that on the camera. That's that. There you go. That's your positive, and obviously the black one. The black one is the ground wire. So black to black. The power wires are brown, obviously, but hang that over there so we can all see it. All right, so we should be in business now. Yeah, I think they look actually. I like them. I do like them. I think I'm going to keep these on. There we go. Lovely. Okay. I hope I've done the right thing there, and you can follow what I've done, and it'll help you fit one of these lights to your FZ6. Or if you've got another bike that's similar, you may learn from what I've done to get the wiring adapted for that light. So let's get this put away now. We'll get the tail section done, get that wired up, and we'll crack on with something else. I want to get this light mounted, but to do that, we're going to be cutting this, I think. So let's crack on. Okay, on to the rear. This is going to get removed. We'll sell this, so we don't want to cut any of the wiring and butcher it. This is for the, oh, came off free. That is for the number plate light. Where's the other one? Both there. Indicators are the same as the other side. That's going to go. Alright, I'm just going to show you this before I move on. I've removed all the outer sheathing, the protective sheathing from here. This is what it looks like underneath. So these wires here, we're going to get those out of the way, and this is all we're going to be working on. That's my tail light one, and that's the right indicator and left indicator. What we shall be doing is fitting, well, I'm going to extend this wiring, so we're going to do some soldering now. This wire, I'm just going to put bullet connectors on here and fasten those and take that to the tail light. So yeah, this is what it looks like. This is what the colours you're looking for under here. These are going to go directly to our tail light. That connector feels like it's bigger than this, so I think it wants a little bit of a crimp. Yeah, it's a little bit open, so we're going to shrink that down slightly. That's it. So I've got the other one. It's like they've stretched. Okay. So they're done. What I'll do is I'll wrap those wires up they're going to be fed through there like that. I'll leave them out of the way for now. I'm going to concentrate on the soldering, so I'll have to, sadly, remove these, which I didn't want to cut wiring. I've got some black wire here for the earth. Strip that back. And we have yellow with a black stripe to signify our live wires. So I've just prepared the wiring for one side, and we've got this wiring for this side. So now I'm just going to tin these wires. In fact, well, let's get them in some flux first of all. I always put flux when I'm soldering. I know some people don't use it. Now I could tin these wires and solder them together, but what I want is a nice flush fit, nice round fit. Get the solder out. Get some on there. Let's do this a quick clean. That should be good. That's all good. That's one. There we go. A little bit more on there. A little more on there. Right. I like using heat shrink wherever I can, really. Alright, so I've got my other wire prep now. We'll get that soldered in. Alright, so we've got our indicator wiring. Gonna get this cut to length. In a minute. I should have washed this bike before I started on it. Right, so that's all our wiring ready to go under there. Right indicator over there. And the tail light. This bracket here, it fits directly to this mount, this metal mount here. I could just fit that there. It's not in a bad position. Only thing that looks concerning on it is if that were to hit the rear wheel. I doubt it would. I doubt the suspension would drop that far at all. It's quite a lot to go, is that? It's nearly over 7 inches, so I doubt the suspension would drop that far. However, I think what I'm going to do is make a mounting plate and bring this out here. I could attach it to there, but it's a little bit too far out. But I'm going to bring a mounting plate and bring this out here, I think. That's what I'm going to do with it. So, we're going to get this made up now. Fabrication time. Right, so this is the steel we are going to be using. I just need to get myself a marker pen. Marker pen here. Okay. So I'm going to just, matter of fact, I'll put that like that. I've still not yet got myself a fabrication table. It's on the cards. I definitely need one. Makes things a lot easier. Right, so these little tabs, I'm going to cut this out, and this will, well, I'll show you what it'll do. So this is going to mount on the rear mount. I'm going to drill a hole in there. Let's get this cut. That's our first bit. Excellent. Alright, most of my pieces are now cut for the brackets, so what I'm going to do is get a flat disc on here and get them all ground up ready for welding and drilling. Right, so we've got all our pieces cut. That is scrap, and this is how it's going to go. Like this, like this. One piece here, one piece there, and these here, just like that. And I should be able to use this, so that can go to one side. I will use the original one. Now, one of these holes here is slightly oval, so it gives, it's not round, it's slightly oval, so it gives us a little bit of clearance to get the hole accurate. Need to be mindful of that. What we're going to do is put this over the top. We will have to trim this down. What we're going to do is put it over the top like that. Make sure it's roughly central. Right, I think I've got that straight as going to be. Okay. Good, right. So I need to get this one slightly elongated. I could file it out, I could drill it bigger and file it out, but I'm just going to try and see if I can drill another hole beside it. Another hole beside it.